In the relentless arena of professional women's tennis, where triumphs are celebrated under blinding lights, but vulnerabilities often unfold in shadowed corners away from public view, Alex Eala stands as a compelling figure whose story transcends mere rankings and scorelines. At the tender age of 20, this gifted Filipina athlete had already shouldered the profound responsibility of becoming a national icon and a regional inspiration for Southeast Asian tennis. Her path was paved with dedication from childhood, including intensive years spent training at the prestigious Rafa Nadal Academy in Spain, where she absorbed world-class techniques, mental discipline, and the unyielding work ethic required to compete at the highest levels. Eala's junior accomplishments laid a strong foundation, highlighted by a prestigious Grand Slam girls singles title that signaled her immense potential. As she transitioned into the senior WTA ranks, 2025 became her breakout year in every sense. She delivered stunning upsets against top 10 opponents, engineered an impressive run to the semifinals of the Miami Open, a premier WTA 1000 tournament, secured her first WTA 125 title, reached a full tour-level final, and etched her name into Philippine sports history as the first Filipina to win a main draw match at a Grand Slam during the U.S. Open. These achievements catapulted her into the top 100 and pushed her closer to the top 50, igniting widespread optimism that she could emerge as a consistent contender capable of challenging the sport's established elite. Media coverage buzzed with her name, fans across the Philippines and beyond rallied with patriotic fervor, and analysts began pondering how far this young talent could go in reshaping the narrative for athletes from nations without deep tennis traditions. However, the brighter the spotlight, the heavier the invisible load it imposes. What began as empowering national pride gradually transformed into an all-encompassing pressure that permeated every aspect of her professional life. Representing an entire country meant that victories were collective celebrations, but any setback carried the weight of collective disappointment. Questions lingered unspoken in every pre-match interview and post-match analysis. Could she sustain her meteoric rise? Was she truly ready to carry the aspirations of millions who saw her as proof that barriers could be broken? The constant travel across time zones, the physical demands of back-to-back hard-court battles, the media scrutiny, and the emotional isolation of being a pioneer without many direct peers from similar backgrounds all compounded into a mounting strain. Eala had spoken openly in the past about how deeply she felt the honor of flying the Philippine flag, describing how it visibly influenced her on-court emotions and reactions. That same passion which fueled her greatest moments also amplified the pain during periods of struggle. This underlying tension came to a head at the WTA 250 Guangzhou Open in China, a hardcourt event that initially appeared to be another stepping stone in her Asian swing. Seeded fourth and carrying recent form that had fans hopeful for a strong showing, Eala faced American qualifier Claire Liu in the first round. The match started exactly as many had anticipated. Eala came out aggressive and in control, breaking Liu's serve multiple times to claim the opening set decisively 6-2. Her footwork was sharp, her ground strokes penetrating, and for over half an hour she dictated the tempo with the confidence of a player on the ascent. Yet as the encounter extended into a lengthy 2-hour and 28-minute war of attrition, the momentum began to slip away in subtle but devastating ways. Liu, displaying gritty determination and steady baseline play, capitalized on Eala's fatting intensity. The American leveled the second set 6-4 after Eala had built an early lead, then edged out the decisive third set 6-4, breaking serve at crucial junctures as the Filipina's errors increased and her movement appeared increasingly labored. The final score, 6-2, 4-6, 4-6 in Liu's favor, read like a classic comeback story, but it also marked Eala's fourth consecutive loss and another disappointing early exit. On the surface, it could be attributed to the unpredictable nature of tennis, a lower-ranked opponent finding her rhythm, physical fatigue setting in during a long rally-filled match, or simply one of those days where execution falters at the wrong moments. But what unfolded in the immediate aftermath suggested layers far more complex than a single on-court unraveling. Social media platforms, tennis discussion forums, and fan communities quickly filled with unverified accounts of turmoil behind the scenes. Whispers spoke of chaos erupting in the locker room shortly after the match concluded, raised voices echoing in a space meant for quiet recovery, possible confrontations involving tournament officials, referees, or even internal team tensions spilling over in the heat of raw emotion. Some posts alleged that Eala reacted intensely to a perceived slight or disrespect, turning the locker room into a momentary storm of frustration and exhaustion. Parallel rumors described Eala appearing disoriented or suddenly collapsing during post-match obligations in the press area, where the combination of physical drain, emotional letdown, and accumulated stress seemed to overwhelm her system. Her mother, Riza, was said to have been closely involved, offering support amid visible distress. In the absence of detailed official statements from the WTA, tournament organizers, or Eala's own camp, these fragments proliferated rapidly across YouTube videos, Facebook groups, Reddit threads, and TikTok discussions. Titles promising the hidden truth behind a locker room raid or sudden collapse drew clicks, while speculation ranged from external intrusions violating player privacy to internal breakdowns triggered by the relentless demands of the tour. Mainstream sports outlets reported the match result factually but largely steered clear of confirming the more dramatic off-court details, leaving a vacuum that narratives filled with assumptions, fan theories, and emotional interpretations. For a young athlete like Eala, the locker room has traditionally served as a vital sanctuary, a private refuge where the body can begin to recover, the mind can process the highs and lows of competition, and strategies for the next battle can quietly form. To envision that space compromised, whether by actual events involving outsiders, heated exchanges with coaches or staff, or simply the psychological echo of a hard-fought loss, adds a dimension of profound unease. Physical factors alone could explain much. Dehydration or heat effects common in indoor or outdoor hardcourt conditions in China, lingering fatigue from a packed schedule, or the natural adrenaline crash that follows intense competition. Yet when layered with the mental burden of national expectations, recent losses, and the isolation that can accompany rapid fame, even a standard defeat can escalate into something that feels far more significant. Reports of her leaning on family support or expressing overwhelming sensations underscored the human element, a reminder that elite performers are not immune to the cumulative toll of their profession. The story did not remain confined to the venue in Guangzhou. Within hours and days, it rippled outward, sparking broader conversations in Filipino media, international tennis blogs, and social platforms. Supporters expressed deep concern mixed with encouragement, emphasizing Eala's proven resilience and past ability to bounce back from adversity. Some highlighted the need for better scheduling to allow genuine recovery windows, stronger mental health resources tailored to young stars, and improved protocols to protect private spaces for athletes. Others pointed to the unforgiving reality of professional tennis, where momentum can shift quickly and dips are inevitable even for the most talented. Detractors or more critical voices questioned whether the transition from junior success and explosive 2025 breakthroughs to sustained top-level consistency had exposed gaps in physical conditioning or emotional preparation for the tour's grind. Headlines in the Philippines and abroad framed the Guangzhou result as part of a challenging slump, with phrases like early exit, collapse in form, and tough period dominating coverage. The unverified locker room and press room elements added a layer of intrigue and drama that transformed a sporting setback into something approaching a personal and symbolic crisis. In an era where information spreads instantaneously, the lack of transparent clarification from those closest to Eala only amplified speculation. Her relative silence or limited public comments, an understandable choice to safeguard focus and privacy, created space for interpretations that sometimes strayed into exaggeration. This dynamic itself became part of the discussion: how modern sports culture, with its insatiable appetite for behind-the-scenes drama, can intensify pressure on athletes already navigating immense challenges. Stepping back from the rumors and sensationalism, a more grounded perspective emerges from the realities of elite competition. Eala's situation reflects well-documented patterns in tennis and other high-stakes sports: the physical wear of constant travel and matches on unforgiving surfaces, the psychological strain of being thrust into the spotlight as a trailblazer, and the emotional weight of embodying hope for a nation eager for sporting success. Her rapid rise meant she encountered these demands earlier and more intensely than many peers with longer apprenticeships in the pros. Moments of visible struggle, whether manifesting as on-court momentum loss, emotional release, or physical overwhelm, are not signs of weakness but natural human responses to extraordinary circumstances. Many legendary players have faced similar crossroads early in their careers, emerging stronger after addressing underlying issues such as workload management, team dynamics, boundary setting around personal space, and proactive mental conditioning. Importantly, this episode does not diminish Eala's remarkable achievements or her evident talent. The player who defeated top 10 stars, reached Miami semifinals, and made Grand Slam history possesses the shot-making ability, athleticism, and competitive fire to continue progressing. Her journey illustrates the dual nature of success in sports: the exhilarating highs that inspire millions paired with the quiet, often invisible battles that test character and resolve. The events in Guangzhou, whatever the precise details behind closed doors, serve as a potent illustration of how pressure, exhaustion, expectation, and the pursuit of excellence can converge in a single afternoon, creating a moment that feels defining even if it ultimately becomes just one chapter. As the tennis calendar progressed beyond that tournament, the narrative around Eala invited introspection on multiple fronts. For her personally, the path forward likely involves deliberate steps, refining her competition schedule to incorporate adequate rest and recovery, reinforcing support systems that prioritize both performance and well-being, establishing clearer protections for private moments like locker room time, and perhaps engaging more openly, when the time feels right, about the mental and emotional aspects of her experience. Fans and the broader tennis ecosystem face parallel responsibilities, offering sustained, nuanced support rather than oscillating between adulation and criticism, advocating for structural improvements in player welfare, and recognizing that young athletes from developing tennis nations often navigate additional unique hurdles. In the end, what really happened behind those closed doors in Guangzhou may never be fully disclosed in exhaustive public detail, and that is perhaps as it should be. Privacy remains a precious commodity in a hyperconnected world. What matters more is the larger truth the incident illuminates. Professional tennis is not solely a showcase of powerful serves and pinpoint ground strokes. It is a profound test of human endurance, adaptability, and inner strength. Alex Eala has already demonstrated extraordinary qualities in reaching her current level despite the odds. The pride she carries for her country, the dedication instilled through years at the Nadal Academy, and the resilience that has carried her through previous challenges suggest she possesses the foundation to process this period, learn from it, and channel it into renewed purpose. Her story continues to unfold with each subsequent tournament, each training session, and each quiet moment of reflection. Supporters in the Philippines and around the globe remain invested not only in her results, but in her growth as both an athlete and an individual. Future chapters may include stronger showings on the biggest stages, deeper runs in Grand Slams, and perhaps even advocacy that helps future generations of players better navigate the invisible pressures she has faced. What once appeared as a potential breaking point could, in time, be remembered as a pivotal turning point. The moment when a young star confronted the full spectrum of her journey and emerged with greater clarity, firmer boundaries, and an even more authentic connection to her craft. The crowd's roar will rise again in stadiums worldwide. The ball will meet the strings with fresh intent, and Alex Eala will step forward, racket in hand, carrying her nation's hopes alongside her own evolving dreams. Because in the heart of every champion's narrative lies not an absence of struggle, but the courage to face it, the wisdom to learn from it, and the determination to keep writing a legacy that inspires long after the final point is played. Her path, marked by brilliance and humanity in equal measure, remains one worth following closely, through victories, setbacks, and all the complex layers that make her journey profoundly real. The door to the next chapter is open, and the tennis world watches with anticipation for how this rising star continues to define herself on her own terms.